Welcome back to another episode of Shared Light with Dusty and JR. I'm obviously JR.
And I'm Dusty.
So just to recap a little bit, we've shared our personal stories.
Mm-hmm.
We have shared part of our story together.
Yep. First 10 years?
No. It was the first 8 years.
Okay.
Timeline-wise, September 1st, 2014. So I guess it would be 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Well, 9 years together.
Since,
8 years married.
8 years married, yeah.
Okay, so September 1st. Day that will go down as probably one of the biggest life-changing days we've both experienced. Right?
In a good way.
That day, I vividly remember we were going about our business. Just living life.
Yeah, we were at home.
Yeah. Get a phone call, and it is the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare.
But your mom called me first.
Well, that's right.
Your
You're
mom
right.
called me first and said, make sure you have your phone, grab JR,
Right.
and answer it. Because Mary is going to call you.
Right. And Mary was a social worker at the Department of Health and Welfare.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a phone call, and they inform us that a little girl has been taken into custody, per the state. She was just born a few hours ago. Were we interested in stepping in as foster parents?
And we were not licensed at this point.
At this point, we are not yet licensed, which we informed Mary, hey, we're not. And she said, that's not a problem. We'll get you.
We'll get you licensed.
Right. And of course, we both said yes, without hesitation, right? To where she informed us, well, as foster parents, do you guys want to come meet baby? And we dropped everything and headed to the hospital.
We lived like
A couple of blocks. Yeah. A couple. At this point, we're living a few blocks from the hospital. And the baby that was born on that day is my beautiful baby girl. At the time, she was not. We didn't know that she was going to end up being with us permanently.
our daughter, yeah.
Right. But, circumstances previous to that, we did have a general idea that that was probably the route it was going to go, but we didn't know for sure. But she was born a little sick. They had to have her in a... what are those blankets called?
Billy blanket.
A Billy blanket. Because she was extremely jaundiced and she was tiny. Hooked up to all sorts of monitors, and she was pretty sick little baby the first couple days.
Yeah. But she was perfect.
But she was perfect, and is perfect. And they actually gave us the opportunity. They gave you the opportunity to spend the night with her.
Yeah.
to just stay at the hospital with her because they didn't want her to be alone.
They gave me a room. A mom and baby room.
And they let her in the room with you, right? And
Yeah, she stayed in the room with me.
I remember I had to work, but I did come by the hospital in the morning just to see you both. And she was only in the hospital here for like a day or 2 days, maybe.
Yeah.
Wasn't very long.
They got her. I can't think of the name of it right now. Her level's back up.
Right. So.
And she was able to come home.
And of course, we've had babies, but we weren't that experienced with newborns, and
yeah.
So talk about a learning curve for a guy that doesn't like holding babies.
Yeah.
Because he feels like, and now I don't. It doesn't bother me, but back then it was very much like this fragile little thing. I'm just gonna break with my.
Yeah. It was a transition because 2 days prior, we didn't know we were gonna have a baby. Like, we were just going about our normal day, and
yeah, like we didn't
have anything, nothing. Like, we were not planning for a baby. And I mean, thankfully we have a village, so our families and everything stepped in, and we had everything we needed that day, pretty much.
And at the time there was also that program you were working with where they offered a lot of what resources that they could, like diapers and
car seat
and
some clothing.
And the state has a really good program when you are a foster parent. They offer you resources for stuff too, so it wasn't like totally crazy, but it was in those first few days when you're trying to get all that stuff set up and figured out like where is baby sleeping and what are they wearing, and
right.
I think they sent us home with like a package of diapers from the hospital, and that was pretty much
and
it.
Some formula bottles,
right?
Like the little.
And it turned out that she couldn't even drink the formula.
Yeah.
We ended up having to switch the formula like right after, because she was lactose intolerant, which is a whole nother.
Still are.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, but. But we were home. I remember we were at my mom's with baby, and it was only probably 2 days after she had gotten out of the hospital.
2 or 3 days. It wasn't long.
And
she was maybe a week old.
Yeah, total, I think. And she had a seizure. And we are first-time parents, foster parents at that, which brings on a whole other level of bureaucracy that you have to leap through to get things done.
Yeah.
But we got in the car, went to the hospital. My mom at the time only lived like a block or two from the hospital.
And she worked there. So we knew people there, and
so we take her to the hospital, and I remember that being one of the scariest moments of my life, because instantly doctors are surrounding baby, and they have no idea what's going on, and then they tell us that they're going to light flight her to Boise to the natal NIC unit, or the NIC unit in at St. Luke's here in the valley, because they have no idea what would cause it. They have no idea what would.
Yeah.
And it's not like for a baby that's really not good. I mean, it's not good anyway, but for a couple of days old baby, it's like really just life threatening.
Yeah.
And I remember us leaving the hospital and just coming and getting like a few things of clothes, and both of us were like in tears the whole time because we were scared. Like we had.
Yeah. It's very. I think we're just in go mode. Like, I don't even remember if we told anybody or called any. I no idea. All I know is that we stopped at the house and then drove straight to.
Like as we got there, Life Flight was.
Yeah, like we booked it.
Getting there.
They were getting there.
And we were at the hospital with her for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't sleep.
It was hard.
We didn't eat very much. Constantly with her, just making sure that we're trying to get information as we can and trying to understand what's happening. You know, they're running gobs and gobs. Yeah, I mean, they're running all sorts of tests to check for infections and neurological issues and anything else that they could possibly think of.
And I think that process was, I mean, it was hard for me just because it's a whole different dynamic when you're the foster parents. And so, you know, they have to get, you don't have really any authorization.
No. So,
you know, when they would come to us and say, we need to do a spinal tap.
It's basically, well, again, it's bureaucracy. You have to call the social worker. The social worker has to call mom.
Birth parents, yeah.
And that's a whole nother dynamic because if they can get a hold of you, if they can't get a hold of you, whatever.
Right.
And then they're calling the hospital, and the hospital can only tell us so much because we're foster parents.
Right.
And
yeah, I just remember that aspect of it being really hard for me because they wouldn't always be forthcoming with information, even though we'd be sitting in the room and they knew something, you know, like they wouldn't always tell us right away, like they had to get permission or so there was a lot of unknown.
And the irony in that is that we had a really good relationship with the department, and they gave us a lot of information.
They did
as they could, but I don't feel like it's probably that way for every.
Well, and I think
for every experience,
no.
Just because we did have such a good relationship with them from working with them previously with other projects, but so I mean, I it's one of those things that you don't. A lot of people don't think about when they think about the dynamics of foster care and some of the things that they foster parents have to deal with, just to make sure that the kids have what they need and are able to be seen and cared for and it's a very strange dynamic. A part of me understands the legality of it, but it does not discount the frustrations that I have because when you're a parent, foster parent or not, you want the best for your child.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, even if it's the right decision, you still have to get that permission from a separate entity to approve it, which is like I said, like she said, it's a frustrating dynamic because you're not that you're able to control the situation anyway, but in that aspect you are even less in control.
Yeah.
And you have less of the information that you need to make the decisions that you feel you need to make sure that that your kid is getting the care that they deserve or need. But there was a lot of uncertainty in that time, and
that was just our focus 24/7. I remember, we stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, and that was a godsend for us because we weren't thinking about eating or, we were just so focused on her and her care and what was going on that, they just provided us somewhere to sleep and eat when we needed to or wanted to. And
yeah, it allowed for us to have a place to not have to think about that in that moment, the things that don't matter.
right.
Like in that instance, I didn't care about eating. I didn't care about where I
Yeah.
was sleeping. I didn't care about, like, I just needed to make sure she was okay. And it was a godsend because I don't think that we would have been able to.
No. I mean, I'm sure our families would have stepped in and made sure that we were okay and,
Yeah.
brought us stuff. We were still close enough to home that we could have drove home every day and gone back and forth and back and forth.
But yeah, in that moment, you don't want to be away from for
No,
more than
I
a few
mean,
minutes, really.
a 30-minute drive was like, that's an hour just driving to and from, plus whatever you need to go do. You just, when you're in that situation, it's all you can think of. You just want to be there with her.
And at this point in time, like, I don't want to say it was a dark moment.
No, I mean, it was a hard moment. It was hard.
It was very scary. I do remember that. It was very scary. Just the unknown. But I think we leaned into each other really hard in that time frame.
Yeah.
And really everything else outside of that was just noise for me. Luckily, I had, again, a fantastic boss that
Yeah.
was understanding of the situation, and I don't remember if you were working then.
Yeah,
I
I was at the fire department.
Oh, that's right. So
So I had a lot of leniency there just because, my mom worked there and they were very like, yeah, whatever you need. Like, we both were blessed that
yeah,
way.
yeah, I think we were super lucky.
We didn't have to worry about work at all.
But the miracle about it was that she was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It was an instant that when it was all said and done, the doctor said, it may be that she has this one and that's it for the rest of her life, or it may be that they're going to be intermittent throughout her life.
Yeah.
But it's not anything that they thought needed medication or...
Right. It wasn't like a diagnosis of something that she would struggle with, or it was her body just couldn't take everything that it was going through.
Right. Because she had...
At birth.
Yeah. Again,
She had a traumatic
It was a very traumatic birth, and I guess it's kind of like our whole topic on light and dark, right? Like, eventually everything comes to roost, and your body deals with it at some point.
Yeah. She had a lot going on in her little body for being a week old.
And that time period after that, we really just dove headfirst into being parents.
Yeah. And within a matter of days, it was like this shift. And we really just, that was our focus.
Yeah, complete focus was just
It was her
and us
yeah,
and
our little family. She was still foster, but she was still our family, and that's a whole nother topic or dynamic that I don't know we may or may not get into at some point, but she, is biologically related to you.
Right.
Not to me, but to you biologically. And so we kind of knew, like, nothing is 100% in foster care ever, even from one day to the next. It's never.
And we had those
It
scary
can
moments.
change.
We had those scary
Yes.
moments with court too.
But overall, given the history, given, what we had already experienced with previous children, like in our family, we knew more than likely this was headed for adoption.
Right.
But we had to go through the process either way.
And it was hard in some instances. But we dove. I mean, she was ours.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, she's
from the moment we held her.
From the moment I knew she was my daughter.
Yeah.
Like she is everything. Her and her sister are everything to me.
Yeah.
With you, and like it's kind of like with each other, right? Like
we just
knew.
Yeah. Yeah, and we, I mean, I think, not that we love her differently or we whatever, but I feel like for me the connection was a little different in just that I was scared, I guess, or nervous, because for you it's an automatic because she is biologically related to you. She is of your blood. And not that that mattered to me, but I was nervous about our connection in the beginning. Like, I'm her mom, but are we going to establish that connection? And 100% we did. Like, I had nothing to worry about.
I think within the first few hours.
Yeah,
yes.
like we just...
I remember her at the hospital crying and nobody being able to mellow her out. And as soon as you grabbed her, she settled down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this long drawn out process either.
No.
It was like,
no,
you were mom from day one.
Yeah.
But to your point, there's a lot that goes on in foster care, and especially when you start moving towards the adoption process through foster care. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of moments that you have to, like with everything, there's a process that you have to go through.
Yeah, and they have different rules and regulations that you have to follow. There's timelines that you have to follow. She had to live with us for at least 6 months before, adoption was even in the conversation. Yeah. So it wasn't just a right away thing.
Well, and then in this whole period, like, you're still going to court and you're still doing all of these things because the state is advocating for her.
Yeah, reunification is always the goal.
Right. And as a foster parent, you don't really have a right to say, like, I want baby with me. Yeah. Or, this is my baby. It's you're working towards that same goal of reunification. Right. Yeah, and it's it can be challenging at times with that dynamic, because you do want what's best for the child. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, especially in our instance, like, we knew that the best thing was for her to be with us.
Yeah, I think there's no foster care case that is identical. Every single one is going to be different. The circumstances are different in every single case. But ultimately, even for a period of time, I was still in that mindset of, I need to be, of course, foster mom to her and take care of her and give her my all, but I also need to be involved in the reunification process. And if there is a way that I need to help birth mom, or whatever that process looks like, that's still my responsibility and yours. That's what you are when you're a foster parent. You know, you're not just 100% taking care of the kid. Like, you're actively involved in helping both parties.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was really hard for me because our situation was so different and there was so many other elements to it that I couldn't always be that person.
Yeah, it gets challenging for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I say, you get to that point where you feel like the best possible outcome in this situation is that she stays with us.
Yeah, and that wasn't just coming from a selfish point of view. That was coming from, that's just what the situation was.
Right.
You know, reunification would have been the worst possible thing
In this instance.
in our case,
Right.
yes, for the baby. So that was really hard to navigate. It was really hard for me to navigate, you know, visits when I had to go drop her off, you know, and she only had 2 visits, so it came to an end pretty quickly, the visits.
But even in that aspect, on some of the court dates, it was, you guys need to make sure you got all of her stuff with you because she could go home today. Or...
Yeah, like every court date, we had to make sure that we prepared ourselves for that. We might have to come home and pack up all her stuff and she's gone, you know.
But it's one of those situations, like we said, that there's a process that you have to follow. And at the end of the day, the outcome is you want what's best for the child.
Yeah,
And,
no matter what you want for yourselves.
Right. And we navigated it and did everything we needed to do, and she was officially adopted. You know the date.
May 6th, 2015. So she was not even a year old yet.
Right. And again, at this point in time, like, our sole focus is her. Mm-hmm. And being a little family, and it was everything we wanted to be as parents and wanted in life, and finally this dream and miracle had come true, and like, we are just living our best life.
I mean, we
were extremely happy at this point.
I mean, we were already happy in our marriage.
Right.
But she was definitely our missing piece.
100%. 100%.
And so once she came, it felt like, this is it. Like, this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, and we're complete, and then she turns a year old.
Yeah, she turned a year old.
In
2015.
August.
We had a birthday
party.
The whole thing.
It was...
And she was so tiny.
Yeah.
I remember her first birthday. Her outfit was 3 to 6 months because she was so small. Yeah. But she was a year old.
People for the longest time thought that she was going to be a little person because she was so small.
Well, even the doctor.
Yeah, she was so small.
She was tiny.
And then, come a couple months later...
November 16th.
Actually, on November 16th, we were at...
In 2015.
We were at a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a random call from the state. Had no idea.
Yeah, we did not see this coming.
No.
Not even from 1,000 miles away.
And at this point, it was not Mary. It was a different social worker that called us and told us this baby has been taken into custody and she is your daughter's biological sister.
Full biological.
Do you guys have room for her? And, I mean, what do you say in that instance, right?
Yeah.
We didn't hesitate. And it was the same deal. You guys She was just born a few hours ago. Do you guys want to come meet her? And we did. And the one distinct thing that I remember about that first visit is that she had the biggest smile I had ever seen on a baby.
She had the biggest cheeks. It was like, and then boom, big old cheeks.
And she was just the happiest little baby.
Even just brand new.
Yeah, I mean, she was smiling the whole time.
Yeah. She was like not even a day old and she was already...
And she was in a lot better health than when our other child was born.
I mean, she had a traumatic birth process.
Right. But she was super healthy. I mean...
But she was... Yeah. Once they got her
to the
stable
hospital.
and
Right.
she was good, but she was perfect too.
Yeah. And it was... Same deal. Like, you got to spend the night at the hospital there, too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we've been through the process, so we understand what the dynamics are.
Yeah, we understand what's coming, but it still was like, she belongs with us.
Yeah.
Just that instant connection of, yeah, she's ours.
And it's that feeling of, I didn't even realize this piece was missing, but this is what completes...
Yeah. We didn't even know she was a missing piece, but she was. You know, because we were so involved and focused on our oldest that... And then here she comes out of nowhere.
And they're like, what, 16 months apart?
Mm-hmm.
14 months apart?
14.
So, I mean, people thought they were twins because our oldest was so little.
Yeah. They were the same size for a long time.
Yeah.
Once she got up to her sister's size, they kind of just stayed that way for a long time, and everybody thought they were twins, but I think they call them like Irish twins or something when they're that close in age. But
and I don't feel like her... I mean, I do remember a few instances that were a little scary, but I don't feel like the process with her was near as scary for me.
Yeah. Well, and it was quicker.
Yeah.
It was quicker just because our oldest case was so fresh still that they had already gone through trying to reunify, and that whole process not even a year before that. And so, in the same year.
Yeah.
It was just months. And so they were like, we're basically going to do what we have to do legally, but
They're going to expedite.
we're going to expedite it. And they ended up being the ones to, put on like the aggravated circumstance so that they could terminate rights a lot sooner. And because they just, if it had been years, I think, in between, they probably would have gone through the whole reunification process again. But since it had only been a few months since they just went through this with the same person, the same people, like, they just were like, no, we're not. And
and I remember even the conversations from the state being different.
Yeah, it was all them. Like, it was nothing that we had really an influence on. It was
at that point,
their stance.
Their stance is, no, you guys need to do everything to protect babies.
Yes. And they had already determined with our oldest a few months prior that this was the best for baby.
Yeah.
And why would it be any different a few months later for this one?
So
it was a lot quicker, and she ended up being adopted November 2nd.
Hers was like right at under a year. But I think a lot of that was like getting into court.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like it was...
No, it wasn't. It was just getting a court date, and, you do have to do the 6 months still and all of that. But, yeah, she was adopted November 2nd, 2016. She wasn't even a year old.
And they are like
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, they bring me joy that I could not even fathom.
Yeah.
It's not ever anything that I dreamed about, thought about. It's one of the things that I pride myself most in, is being their dad.
Yeah. Same. It's a whole nother level. You know, I always tell you, like, my proudest title is being your wife. But it's a whole nother level when you become parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's one better than the other. It's just completely different, I think. The joy and the light and the, not that it's not challenging.
Yeah, I mean, they're kids.
Being a parent is challenging, but
there's worries that you didn't even know that you could have when you have kids, for sure.
yeah.
And at the time they were born, and at the time they were little, at that point, my mentality completely focused and changed, and I really dove into, okay, now I really need to focus in on what I'm doing to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So I really dove into work. Mm-hmm. And more, it was just about wanting to build whatever career I was going to have and make sure that I was, that we were financially stable, that we were going to start building towards the things that I felt we needed, and that we didn't really talk about what those goals were, but it was I've really internalized, like, this is what I need to do to make sure that you guys are taken care of.
Yeah. Well, because also at the time, once our youngest came, I was like, I don't want to go to work for 8 hours a day. Like, I want to be home with our kids. That's what I've always wanted to be. Like, everybody dreams, like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a whatever. I just wanted to be a mom. That was it. Like, that was what I wanted to do with my life. And so I didn't want to put them in daycare for 8-10 hours a day. And so I think that made you focus even more, because I did end up leaving the fire department and being a stay-at-home mom.
Again, to your point, it hyper-focused what I needed to do. Mm-hmm. But that was, and not in those first years, but eventually that is what led to some of the darkness that we experienced together, because at this point in time, you're hyper-focused on the kids. I'm hyper-focused on doing what I need to do to make sure that you guys are supported, and we start that, I talked about where there's instances where people start basically being roommates.
Yeah, I call it autopilot.
Yeah, and we hit a stage in our marriage where it was that.
Yeah.
And it leads to situations where I start feeling some insecurities on my end.
Yeah.
And through insecurity, I do stupid things, which led to a very challenging situation that we experienced, and that my insecurities led to me starting to talk to females online. And never cheated, never did anything, but it was not appropriate for our relationship. Again, it was a lot of insecurities on my part, just feeling like maybe I'm not doing enough, maybe I need to feel a certain way to feel like
I'm being enough.
Yeah,
Or
like
I
I'm being,
am.
or like I am being the man, and I am, it's
Right.
a lot of that. I don't want to blame it totally on culture, but it is a lot of that machismo style
Yeah.
cultural background that I come from anyway. But it's definitely rooted in insecurities within me, which we've talked about and had really honest conversations about.
Yeah.
And it eventually came to a head. And again, I never like cheated or anything like that, but I very much put myself in a situation where it could have led to that.
Yeah.
I guess is the easiest way to put it.
Yeah. And I think also at the time we were on autopilot, and, you know, not that I take blame for your actions, but we also weren't in a place in our marriage where I was recognizing or seeing what you needed. I wasn't giving you the things that you were seeking at the time. And, I think that's the part of it that bothered me the most, or, that hurt me the most, was that it was not even hurt me, but more it scared me, because that is where those type of things start.
Right.
That's where you could really put yourself in a situation that you did end up cheating, or
Right. You end up building a relationship with somebody else, and
right.
Again, it was not a good situation, and it was a very hard situation for us to navigate. The positive that came from that situation is, for the first time in very long time, we had a very honest conversation.
Yeah. I think it's what got us out of just living in autopilot.
Yeah, and
It started the conversation, it started the communication to lead us to where we are today.
Which is not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to come to that conclusion from something like that.
Right, right.
But, like I've said before, things need to happen for whatever reason. And I still, even though it was a dark time and it was not easy to get through, and it needed to happen, and it actually made us better.
Well, I know that the only reason that we were able to come out better on the other end of it is because we were able to address it in a very honest manner.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, probably for the first time in the entire time we were married, I was able to come to you from a place of, this is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just trying to numb it out or suppress it out, or it was very hard for me, just because men don't do that, or
yeah, it's not a comfortable thing for you.
No, it's not that I don't find value in it or anything. It's just something that was never instilled or ingrained in me, and it's very much that's me. We don't talk about feelings. We don't.
Right.
You deal with your feelings the way you need to deal with them, but you deal with them alone.
Right.
But not in this instance. I think this was, like I said, it was the first time that I can think of, and at this point we've had a lot of things go on. My cousin died, that whole thing, the whole situation, with the fallout with me and my family, the some of the challenges that I had, and a lot of different things that have happened, and challenges that were hard, that I probably should have spoke about at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just
internalize.
Status quo, and internalize it, and you do what you do, and it doesn't allow for as close as we were, and as much as I loved you then, and as much as I still had you at a little bit of a distance.
Mm-hmm. Emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this was the first time ever that I allowed you into that scary space for me.
Right.
Because I was scared. I knew I had done something stupid, and I knew that there was a real possibility that you would say, like, no, I'm not doing this. And to your point, we got through it.
Yeah.
But you also shelved some of that.
Yeah, I did. I had to. I think for me, I had to because, like I talked about when I shared my story, that was kind of the MO in my other relationships is, other women and whatever. But for me, this was in 2020, so it wasn't like we had been married
Yeah.
14 years or whatever at that point. It was not something that I was willing to just let go of, and I wasn't willing to just be like, oh, that's who he is, because I knew it wasn't, I knew there was something deeper. There was something else contributing to this. And so for me, I'm a very black and white person most of the time. And so for me, it's very easy. Like, once I am done, I'm done. It's over. It's done. And I did not want that. So I, for myself, had to shelve it so that I could move on and we could repair, because I know myself, and I wouldn't have been able to communicate and do the work and if I hadn't.
Right. And it was also at this point in time when I realized a lot of things about myself, and I started doing a lot of work on me.
Yeah.
Because I'll be the first to say I do have a huge ego. Huge. And it's something that I fight with all the time, and that was part of what contributed to that, right? And it's taken me 6 years to get to that point where I can confront that and say, yeah, I've got all of these, like, I have these things that I know, but I've only been able to do that because I have really worked hard to do work on who I am as a person.
Right.
Because at that point I realized, I cannot be what I need to be for you and the kids if I'm not happy with me.
Right.
And that's a lot of what those insecurities are, is I was not happy with who I was as a person internally. It wasn't that I felt like I was a bad person or anything, but you numb stuff out for so long.
Right.
That, to your point, like, eventually you got to deal with all that stuff.
It'll come back.
And this allowed me the opportunity to look at that. And with that, we can get into the rest of the story next time and really get you to where we are today.
That's right.
So, I appreciate everyone listening. You guys have a blessed week. And like I said last time, please make sure you're shining your light on someone.